Some people say we are living in a post-truth world, which basically means people are more likely to accept perhaps an argument based on their emotions and beliefs rather than based on facts. Truth doesn't matter in a post-truth world. We also seem to be living in an age of distrust, don't we? Where fake news and false narratives clog up our feeds and conversations. It's hard to know the truth in all of that, isn't it? It's also a my truth world. You've probably heard that mantra, haven't you? Live your truth. Where truth is entirely subjective and relative. It's very individualistic. It's very personal. You have your truth, and I can have mine. And of course, there are others who sort of shrug it off. They say there is no truth at all. Truth cannot be known. We're just at sea in a haze of relativity where nothing is solid and fixed or certain. How are you getting on in that kind of world? How are you getting on in a no truth, my truth kind of world? How do you think the world is getting on with it? And where does this leave Christianity? In Christian theology, truth is understood as that which aligns with God, His mind, His will, His character, His being. God is ultimate truth, reliable, unchanging, faithful. And truth isn't simply facts, 2 + 2 = 4, although some people would even question that. And it's certainly not subjective. No, in Christianity, truth is all about reality. It's about the way things really are in the world. Do you want to know the way things really are in the world? It describes what meaning is, what purpose is, what destiny is. But listen, that truth is actually hidden from us. We are blind to it. So, do you know what has to happen? God has to graciously reveal it to us. It has to be revealed to you. Well, how does He do that? Well, first we might say through His Word, the Scriptures. But ultimately, if God is truth, He must reveal Himself. Truth is personal. And that self-revelation has appeared in Jesus Christ, the Son of God. John 14:6, you would have seen this in your series through John. What does Jesus say? I am the way, the truth, and the life. To know Him is to know the truth. And then the truth will set us free. Free to live according to reality, a reality that is far more wonderful than you can imagine. In John chapter 18, verses 28 to 40, we see a no truth, my truth world in action. And it's exhausting, and it's fearful, it's unjust. That's the kind of place it is. So Jesus, He's been arrested here, He's been abandoned. He's been betrayed, and He stands on trial, first before the Jewish leaders, and now before Pilate, the Gentile Roman governor. And it's a travesty. It's an absolute disgrace. The Son of God is being judged by those He came to save. Ultimate truth is being put on trial. It's outrageous, isn't it? But as these mere human beings try to judge Him, their own sort of truth ideas and realities are exposed. Really, you see, the ones who are on trial here, it's not Jesus, it's them. They are on trial. And Jesus, He shines all the brighter as the ultimate truth and the reality that we are actually all searching for. Today, I want to call you to something. I want to call you, firstly, to stop. Stop striving in a my truth world. Secondly, stop fearing in a no-truth world. And thirdly, start living in a the-truth kingdom. Let's think about that together. Firstly, stop striving in a my-truth world. Here we are, finally, the Jews, they've got their man, haven't they? They've been after Jesus for a while, and they want him dead. But the problem is, they aren't allowed to execute anyone. Only the Romans can do that, who occupied Judea. They had the authority to do that. As verse 31 says, we have no right to execute anyone. So they have to take Jesus to Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea, to get him to do it for them. But notice first what they do. Because it says in verse 28 that they wouldn't go into Pilate's headquarters to avoid ceremonial uncleanness. Pilate was a Gentile. And according to their Jewish law, entering his house would defile them, spiritually contaminate them, so that they couldn't participate in the Passover festival any longer. But can you see the irony of this? Absurd. It's utterly absurd and evil for them to be seeking out the murder of the Son of God himself through an unjust trial and without proper cause, but do so while claiming to be oh so holy and righteous. When Pilate very reasonably asks for the charges, they're very cagey, aren't they, with him? Well, we wouldn't have brought him to you if there weren't something wrong, Pilate. In other words, look, we haven't got a good reason, under Roman law at least, to kill him. So you're just going to have to trust us, Pilate, and give us what we want. It's not justice they want, is it? It's not the truth that they're after. They're living by their own truth. And Jesus didn't fit with that. And so he must die. All the while sort of presenting as upstanding, law-abiding, righteous men. But that's exactly what living in a my truth kind of way looks like. In particular here, it's a my truth kind of religion that they have. It's gaining a righteousness and holiness according to my way, my religious laws. Over and over again, you see. We've seen this in John. They've rejected Jesus. They've rejected his way and his truth in favor of their own. And because Jesus didn't fit with their truth about the Messiah or about salvation or about righteousness, they reject him and want him dead. The irony is, though, that they are rejecting God's way of salvation, the Passover lamb, in favor of their own kind of Passover. Can you see? And people do this today. They do it with the Bible, don't they? Maybe you've come across this. They pick and choose what they like to suit their truth. They want salvation and a relationship with God on their terms. And if the Bible doesn't fit with it, well, we have to chuck it. But as well as being, really hypocritical, they're also being very manipulative here, aren't they? They know, you see, Pilate, his political standing was quite fragile here. He was a very second-rate kind of guy, Pilate. He had a history of offending them, often with brutal, deadly consequences. And they exploited this tension here. The Jews are playing on Pilate's weakness, his vulnerability. He's trying to keep order in Judea, which was extremely hard. His job was on the line, so he needs to keep the Jews happy. They're putting Pilate in a pickle, I like to say, because it's fun to say. Putting Pilate in a pickle. Either he agrees to their request without just cause, or he refuses and risks upsetting them again. It's very manipulative, very cunning. And again, this is where living in a my truth way takes you. Constantly striving to control, to manipulate the world to fit your version of the truth. A my truth person is so afraid of the truth that they'll want to control the world to fit their truth instead, controlling people and relationships, controlling circumstances and society so that life goes their way. Some people even want to control language so that people talk the way that they want them to. But what does that do? It brings nothing but conflict. Have you noticed this? Nothing but conflict. Clashing. Don't you see that in our world today? Everyone trying to live by their truth and therefore get control. Do you know where a my truth kind of life will leave you? Exhausted. It's exhausting living this way, striving to control everything, trying to live your truth authentically. And yet, look, here is Jesus, the truth. And he's in total control. Verse 32, this is all happening so that the words of Jesus would be fulfilled. While everyone else around him is trying to control their truth, only Jesus' truth is actually being fulfilled. Namely here, that he would have to die by crucifixion. Jesus had predicted this even in John, that he would be lifted up for salvation, i.e. dying on a cross for us. The Jewish mode of execution was stoning. But the Roman way was crucifixion on a cross. So it was his plan that the Jews hand him over to Pilate. Can you see? Who's in control here? The truth. If you're tired of striving in a my truth world, striving to be good enough for God according to your own religion, striving to control everything all the time so that life goes your way, if you're tired of that, will you surrender to the truth, to the only one who can really save you and the only one who is truly in control? Stop striving in a my truth world. Secondly, stop fearing in a no truth world. Stop fearing in a no truth world. Now Jesus' trial before Pilate begins, doesn't it? And if he's going to execute Jesus, he needs a reason under Roman law. And so hence his question there, verse 33, are you the king of the Jews? You see, what matters now to Pilate is not so much the truth, but power. Power. He wants to know whether Jesus is a political threat to Caesar's power in Judea. And he's not particularly impressed by the power he sees in Jesus. The Greek makes this much clearer, which has a sense of you. Are you the king of the Jews? You're pathetic. There's no power here. That's all he really cares about. Now look, before Jesus answers this question, he really kind of wants to know where this is coming from in Pilate. Verse 34, is that your own idea, Jesus asked, or did others talk to you about me? In other words, he's saying, Pilate, do you want to know the truth? Are you really after the truth? Do you want to know the truth? But Pilate doesn't care about the truth. He only cares about power. Verse 35, I'm no Jew. I don't care who you are. And even if you were a king, you wouldn't be my king. I'll just kill you. I've got the power. I've got all the cards. All right, Pilate, well, since you're so indifferent to the truth, here it is, verse 36. My kingdom is not of this world. Yes, as Pilate hears that, he understands that Jesus is claiming to be a king, although he doesn't really understand. Jesus is a king, but not of this world. It is not like the kingdoms of your world, Pilate. And I'm not a king like other kings. I am no threat to you, Pilate. In fact, verse 37, my purpose, my very purpose, is to show you what truth really is. I am a king who can show you, Pilate, what life really means, how you can know God and find salvation. And anyone who pays attention, anyone who listens to me will have the truth. Well, then we see what Pilate really thinks. And these infamous words. Verse 38, what is truth? What is truth? Isn't it a very cynical reply, very dismissive? What is truth? There is no truth. No, truth is power. It's whatever keeps me in control. And even if there is truth, it doesn't matter anyway. Hence why, verse 38, Pilate finds, don't miss this, he finds Jesus not guilty, but goes on to condemn him anyway. Pilate doesn't care about the truth. There is no truth. What a frightening thing. What a frightening thing to hand power to somebody who doesn't believe in truth. Do you agree? And a no-truth world leads to a my-truth world, doesn't it? One leads to the other. If there is no truth, well, we've got to come up with our own truth. Then we've got to generate our own ideas of meaning and purpose and reality. We have told generations of young people this. There is no truth. You live your truth. There is no truth. You figure it out for yourself. And do you know what? It is crushing. It is crushing. How can we do that? How can we determine our own truth, our own explanations for our existence and meaning and morality and identity and destiny? We can't. And it only leads to fear. Because in that world, truth doesn't matter, only power. And if you don't have the power, then you better watch out. I met a young guy in his mid-20s a few months ago when I was preaching at another church, and it was his first time ever in church. And after I preached, he came and he spoke with me and told me that a year ago he described himself as an angry atheist. Have you ever met an angry atheist? And so I asked him, well, what on earth has brought you to church now? Well, he explained that as he had been looking at the world around him, going to pot, where power, not truth, really mattered, he started to become disillusioned with his atheism. See, atheism merely says that there isn't something. A bit like Pilate's here, there is no truth. That's all atheism can say, there isn't something. But it doesn't say what there is. What is there then? And so it leaves this big, massive, empty void that God used to fill. And now you have to fill it with your own explanation and meaning and purpose for life and so on. And so what this chap who was talking to me explained, he picked up a Bible. He started reading the scriptures. He started to do some of his own investigation. He was reconsidering Jesus, the truth, until finally deciding to try church. Later this year, he's getting baptized. I've seen this story repeated many times personally. People are frightened. They are disillusioned with a no-truth, my-truth world. Just think, that guy or that lady who sits opposite you at the desk at work, they may already be searching for truth. They've realized in this no truth, my truth world, it's broken, it's dying, it's terrifying. And they're wondering if there is a truth, if there is a God who can explain it all. And they're just waiting for you to start talking to them and invite them to church, to bring them to Jesus, the truth, to hear his voice. Maybe that's you this morning. Maybe you've given up on truth. There is no truth. And if there is, you don't really care. Or maybe you've just seen where it can lead, a fearful place where only power matters. And whoever has the power has all the cards, so don't get in their way. Here is Jesus, the one who can reveal the truth. That's my purpose, he says. To testify to the truth, to reveal it to us. So let's listen to him. Let's listen to him now, finally. Friend, stop fearing in a no-truth world and stop striving in a my-truth world. Instead, finally, thirdly, start living in a the-truth kingdom. Start living in a the truth kingdom. Jesus here introduces a radically different kind of world, doesn't he? Verse 36, Jesus' kingdom, he says, is not of this world. It's from another place, Jesus says. That's because this is really a heavenly kingdom. It has its roots, its origins, not in the earth, this earth, but in heaven, in God. And now, in Jesus, this kingdom is being manifest. It's coming on earth. Now, this is really good news. Do you realize that? Because don't we desperately need another kind of kingdom right now? The kingdoms of this world with their no truth, my truth mindset are fragile and fleeting and warring and corrupt. Aren't we tired of them? Don't we crave something different? A different way, a different kind of kingdom, not like the kingdoms of this world. Jesus' kingdom is what some of us call an upside-down kingdom. It's not about power, but service, where the lowest are the greatest, the humble are honored, and the way to find life in this kingdom is by losing it. Here, in this kingdom, glory comes through sacrifice and love, not by might. Victory is won by loving your enemies and doing good to those who hate you. Would you like to belong to a kingdom like that? My angry atheist friend, weary of this world's kingdoms, was searching for exactly that, and that's what he found in Jesus' kingdom. And it's all centered on Jesus. Jesus, the King of the kingdom, the Son of God, who is truth personified. In John's Gospel, Jesus is the light of the world, shining in the darkness to reveal what's there, to reveal the way things really are, making sense of reality, the truth about God, the truth about the world, the truth about ourselves. Listen, Jesus doesn't offer us some sort of abstract set of principles or laws like other prophets do. See this over here? This is what you need to do. This is what you need to believe. This is the way, or that is the way. Jesus doesn't say that. What does he say? I am the way. I'm the way. Truth is a person. It's personal. You can know truth, not just know truth. You want to know the truth? Look at Jesus then. Look at Jesus, who fed the hungry, who lifted up the weary and the burdened, who healed the sick, who comforted the mourning, who gave sight to the blind and hearing to the deaf, who drove away evil, who restores the broken and the oppressed, who calmed storms, who saved lives, who raised the dead, who reveals the Father, full of grace and truth and wisdom and justice and mercy and above all, love. Look to Jesus. In this kingdom, this King of truth, full of glory and power, lays it aside, stoops low to the lowest place and gives his life for his people. And that's exactly what he's doing here in John 18. He's not being taken to die. He's giving himself away here to die for his own people's crimes and sins, and all so that he can lead them by the hand into eternal fellowship with God, with an unshakable rejoicing and peace. Look to Jesus, the truth. Our passage ends, doesn't it, with Pilate cowardly giving in to the demands of the Jews. But in one last attempt to free Jesus and stick it to them, he proposes this custom of releasing a prisoner at the festival. And he thinks it's going to go his way. Will they have this kind of harmless Jesus or the rebel Barabbas? And what do they choose? Well, they choose the murderer. The plan backfires. But in that we see it, don't we? The truly guilty is set free, while the truth himself is condemned to die in his place. The cross, meant for Barabbas, now lifts up Jesus. What kind of king or ruler do you know like this? If you're asking what is truth, I can't give you a moral code or a set of principles to live by. The best answer I can give you is Jesus. If you want to know the truth that sets you free, then you need to know him. Look on him. How can you do that? Well, firstly, through his word. What does verse 37 say? Everyone on the side of truth listens to me. If you can do that, look to Jesus, listen to Jesus, then you can start living in this the truth kingdom. There's a dear lady from my church. She's about 50 years of age, and she's endured a brutal life. She's had several abusive relationships. She has a disfigured face from where she had been violently attacked by a partner. Anorexia, shattered self-worth. When we met her, she was too afraid to leave her dark, lonely flat. We had to hold her hand, Emma and I. We remember walking her just a few hundred yards up the road to see the doctor, and even then she collapsed with fear and almost vomited. But we began reading the Bible with her and started a Christianity Explored course. And after a few sessions, I turned to her and I asked her, so tell me, what are you thinking now about Jesus? And without hesitation, and I'll never forget it, she said this: oh, I want him. I want him, she said. She saw something in Jesus. A few months later, we baptized her too. Once unable to step outside, she now stood before a church declaring, Jesus saved me. She didn't find a self-help program. She didn't find her own truth. She found a person, the Son of the living God, who died to free her from her sin and shame and all her darkness. And by that truth, his truth, she was set free and found a new life. A king of truth who makes sense of our world and reality. The king who rules a different kind of kingdom, a spiritual kingdom of grace and sacrifice and love and justice and mercy. Those who live by his kind of truth listen to the king. They trust in him. Start living in the truth kingdom of Jesus. Are you tired of striving for control in a my truth world? Are you afraid in a no truth world where only those with power matter? Then will you consider Jesus? Truth revealed, truth personified, truth that gives you life. Everyone on the side of truth listens to me. In the name of God, the Father of truth, the Son who reveals truth, and the Spirit who guides us into truth. Amen. Please bow your head with me. What has God said to you this morning? How has he spoken to your heart? What is the truth He's revealed to you today?